Hello, my name is Asha Sampath. Welcome to this new edition of Business Africa, your magazine dedicated to the continent's business and economic news. As usual, you can win $150 in our Business Africa game. More details later, but first, today's top stories. Nigeria, champion of cryptocurrency, let's head for Abuja and its new virtual financial technology hub.
Convexity is a blockchain technology focused company, and we are interested in seeing the blockchain technology prosper and, of course, expands within African sub-region, starting from Nigeria.
Benin stands up to climate change and floods with early warning systems.
We often have floods with no warning. Our crops are destroyed and many children are killed.
Growing vegetables in the middle of the desert is possible, and it is also organic example with these Malian farmers.
We are in the middle of the desert, and people are growing vegetables like tomatoes and aubergines. A few years ago, you wouldn't have seen that here.
Cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, we're hearing more and more about them in Africa, but it's not always easy to grasp and clear to everyone. Well, in short, cryptocurrencies are digital currencies. They use a decentralized computer network instead of being controlled by the monetary authorities. Blockchain technology certifies transactions to prevent embezzlement. Nigeria is leading this development, and a specialized blockchain center has just been set up in Abuja. A journalist on site, Hugo Yohana, has more.
The blockchain technology globally is opening a new vista of opportunities as a solution provider and technologically advancing our everyday life. Many players in the sector crave for a place where they can network, trade, and improve their knowledge base in a hub that is solely dedicated to the blockchain market and its technology. Recently, Convexity, the first blockchain hub in Sub-Saharan Africa, was launched in Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital city. Its ambition is to checkmate the various prevailing problems in Sub-Saharan Africa, with Nigeria leading the technological revolution.
Convexity is a blockchain technology focused company, and we are interested in seeing the blockchain technology prosper and, of course, expands within African sub-region, starting from Nigeria. We believe it's a technology that is powerful to empower Africa, and we believe it's a technology that is meant for Africans. And therefore, most of the problems we see within Africa is the technology that can liberate Africa out of most of the things that we see. And that is what explains our establishment of the first blockchain hub, to make sure we'll galvanize, resources, galvanize talents, to come co-think, co-create, and solve local problems.
Convexity's forensic laboratory have partnered with the Nigerian government in upgrading its security architecture by training various security agencies to be equipped with the knowledge to be able to tackle crimes that would emerge from this technology.
We are Africa investigative partner to Chain Analysis, one of the world-leading blockchain analytic company that gives U.S. authorities support and law enforcement. We're also very much involved and in strong partnership with Blockchain Intelligence Group out of Canada. And of course, those are also people giving CIA support to investigate this infraction. So if you have this robust technology in-house in Nigeria, it makes a whole lot of sense that we help our law enforcement to understand this new technology, the new crime that will emerge as a result of this new money. And so we've been doing that. That have seen us and have some conversation and some little training for the military, and we did that specifically to the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command.
Recently, Convexity held a training about tracking new forms of crimes for the Nigerian Security and Defense Corps. The blockchain hub is also encouraging startups by bringing together blockchain developers and entrepreneurs.
In the hub also we have a little arm that accelerate and also help startups. So we have one or two startups that we have put a little money behind them to see if they can succeed, and we also want to push them. This is hitherto what they should have been going to government to go look for. We're trying to liberate that, and a lot of solutions are coming. So we saw a lot of solutions around agriculture, We saw a lot of solution about within finance, decentralized finance.
What we are doing at Convexity is taking out just trading from what we already know and then bringing in the aspect of developing solutions that will be impactful to the society or to the community. So in our hub, right, we have developers that are working towards that. And so in order for us to achieve that, we are working towards a hackathon to bring developers and some startups together that will create solutions that will help the society.
Convexity has supported about 12 blockchain-powered solution startups such as DeFi, Data Integrity, Sonergy, NFT API, just to mention a few. While some are still undergoing incubation, 2 have been directly financed by Convexity.
As a startup, we came for Convexity inaugural launch and we pitched our idea to them. And they actually liked the idea, they bought into the idea and decided that they were going to fund us and incubate us in the hub. So far, we've been able to get developmental funding from them. We got a workspace, constant electricity and light, and internet asset, which has helped us to increase our development phase into our testnet stage, where we are working with developers to test run the API already.
With a first mover advantage, Convexity has opened up new opportunities in the blockchain market, which could reinforce the confidence of the various stakeholders in the solutions the technology brings. For example, blockchain technology could be widely used to fight financial corruption and ensure fair election monitoring and reporting. From ethical solutions to agricultural startups empowerment, blockchain offers a wealth of resources for emerging economies. This is an ongoing technological revolution that Convexity and Nigeria aim at lending on the African continent.
We remain in Nigeria, where the central bank will launch an investigation into foreign currency transactions. The institution has warned the country's commercial banks to stop supplying a parallel market that has arisen due to a shortage of US dollars. The strong demand for US currency is contributing to the weakening of the national currency, as the government hopes to redress the situation with the new resources from the International Monetary Fund. In Guinea, as you know, President Alpha Condé, in power since 2010, was overthrown by the military junta. The coup was strongly condemned by the international community, as well as by the African Union and ECOWAS. But it also has important economic implications, as Guinea has since 2015 become the leading bauxite exporter. The ore is used to produce aluminium, and the situation could favor competing exporters such as Australia or Brazil. Bauxite prices reacted to the rise, even though the junta asked mining companies to continue operating in the country. We are now heading for the vast coastal plain of Benin, where the population has always lived from aquaculture and agriculture. But climate change has changed the situation with devastating floods in 2010. The country has decided to tackle the threat heads-on with a functioning warning system, as Lauren Raimondi found out in this report in the south of Benin.
Most people in Benin live in the south of the country, in major cities such as Cotonou, the economic capital, and Porto Novo, the administrative capital. There is also a vast coastal plain with a network of rivers including the Niger and the Weme. Villagers here have always made a living from fishing and agriculture. However, in recent years, this fertile environment has been increasingly under threat. No one can forget the tragic floods of 2010 that left 46 people dead and 680,000 homeless. Benin is paying the price for climate change, with devastation caused by heavy rain and rivers bursting their banks, as in the village of Agueguez, in the low-lying areas of the Weme Valley.
We often have floods with no warning. Our crops are destroyed and many children are killed.
The school, the village hall and villagers' houses have been flooded countless times.
When the water levels rise, houses are flooded and we have to evacuate people to avoid disastrous consequences.
Faced with an alarming situation, the government has decided to take action. An early warning system, or EWS, was launched to head off disaster. Following the example of systems already in place in Kenya and the Netherlands, the EWS anticipates floods, as well as periods of drought or strong winds, thanks to a graduated scale that runs from green for a normal situation to red for imminent danger. It is now the beginning of the short rainy season, and the region is on red alert. The specialists are working frantically. The situation is potentially dangerous for the inhabitants of 12 communities. 3 days earlier, the monitoring of water levels, morning and evening, on these measuring poles, situated in the rivers, showed abnormally high water levels. The data were sent to the control center, where real-time forecasts are made.
Here we have the forecast for the river Ouémé at Bono. And the measurements we received from the monitors in Bono. And here in red is our forecast. So as you can see, it is a 3-day forecast.
If the final alert is issued, local mayors will make sure homes along riverbanks are evacuated and the inhabitants moved to safety.
This red alert warns us that the water levels have risen and the river has burst its banks and started to flood people's homes. We contacted the National Civil Defense Agency responsible for crisis management in Benin. They have contingency plans and take the necessary measures. They know what needs to be done.
Climate change can be life-threatening, but also has major economic consequences. 2010 floods resulted in an estimated $256 million worth of damage and loss of revenue. There is, of course, a price to pay for local inhabitants, as with the Niger River flood.
When the river breaks its banks, we cannot control the floodwater, and it washes away crops as well as homes, causing havoc for the people in the area. We had invested heavily to make it possible to grow cash crops in the valley, so you can imagine the losses incurred.
Alors, vous voyez, le déficit de la culture vivrière, ça met en cause, en quelque sorte,
the local population's food security is jeopardized and youth unemployment rises.
Et donc, nous allons rechercher des ressources qui sont très importantes, de l'ordre de plus de 95 milliards.
We are going to take major steps, investing around $185,000 million to rebuild the dikes along the river Niger, to channel the water when the river reaches flood levels.
De contenir, lorsque, en cas d'inondation, de contenir le fleuve dans son lit.
The government-implemented Commission for Economic Modelling of the Impact and Integration of Climate Change has just been set up. This sends out a clear signal to the country and its people, but it is, above all, an effective working tool that anticipates the financial cost of climate change and the impact on national budgets. This political decision requires the involvement of several government ministries if it is to be successfully implemented.
La commission qu'on vient d'installer est un outil.
The commission that we have just set up is a tool we can use to coordinate decisions and to make sure the decisions we take are competent. We are not interested in erratic spurts of growth. We need lasting, sustainable growth. And if you want stability, you have to factor in coping with climate change.
Benin is one of 11 African countries to benefit from the UNDP-backed early warning system. The country's long-term goal is to work in collaboration with its West African neighbours. Benin is something of a pioneer in Africa and beyond, a testimony to the political will to take its future into its own hands.
We need to anticipate. Rather than waiting for humanitarian aid, we should be evaluating risks in a professional manner and integrating the information in our budget forecasts.
Welcome back to Business Africa. The IUCN World Conservation Congress took place this month in Marseille, and I had the privilege to open this international congress with French President Emmanuel Macron. This Congress, which takes place every 4 years, highlights, among other things, states' commitment to nature and biodiversity and brings together civil society, scientists and conservation experts and gives them an opportunity to work together and prepare for the CBD COP15 on biodiversity in spring 2022 in China. And in this context, a message of hope came from Africa. Mahamadou Issoufou, ex-president of the Republic of Niger, spoke to Congress about the results of the Great Green Wall, the fight against climate change in Africa, and the Nigerian Feed Nigerian initiatives. Let's listen to him.
The results obtained by this initiative and by the implementation of the Great Green Wall are very encouraging. We have been able to restore the forest cover, there has been a return of wildlife, an increase in production and yields, food security has been improved, poverty rates have fallen, many jobs have been created, thousands of jobs in fact, and we've also seen a reduction in rural exodus and migration, as well as conflict mitigation.
$118 million for 18 transboundary conservation reserves in southern Africa. This is the International Financial Facility Agreement that was signed this month in Malawi. This country is an example of a virtuous approach to nature conservation, since there are 80 reserves managed by local communities and spread over 20% of its territory. The agreement, announced by Nancy Tembo, Minister of Forests and Natural Resources of Malawi, covers 700,000 square kilometers in 16 countries in southern Africa. Will Chad finalize its debt restructuring? The country was the first to seek restructuring in January as part of the G20 aid plan. The creditor countries China, France, India and Saudi Arabia have agreed to rescheduling, but the IMF is demanding the same commitment from private lenders. However, their support is long overdue, which blocks the restructuring, said Prime Minister Albert Pahimi Padake. Chad's private debt represents $1 billion. No more chemical fertilizers and other complex irrigation systems. Malian farmers have succeeded in growing 100% natural vegetables in the middle of the desert, even though organic areas still only represent 0.2% of the continent's agricultural area. The example shows that organic farming in Africa is possible everywhere. Report by Ariski Ben Mokhtar and Adrian Bizieux.
The tomatoes these men are picking so carefully are no ordinary tomatoes. They are organic. This new approach to farming is quite literally taking root in Africa. No chemical products are used on these plots of land in the desert.
We are in the middle of the desert, and people are growing vegetables like tomatoes and aubergines. A few years ago, you wouldn't have seen that here.
Organic farming is the ideal solution for these farmers concerned about their own health and the health of the soils that nourish them. These small plots of land are a sustainable investment and one they intend to develop in the near future. Their determination is their key asset, as are these precious tomato seeds. The seeds are painstakingly selected and stored before being analyzed by agronomists and replanted. They are a treasure the farmers guard jealously.
We select
the varieties that are the most resistant to the climates and to certain diseases. Then, we tell our partners which seeds we have chosen so they can be duplicated and delivered.
More and more African farmers are turning their hands to organic production. Although the trend is far less developed than in many northern countries, Africa is making inroads into this new territory. What's more, this type of production is perfectly suited to small-scale producers. Traditional agriculture in Africa is organic by its very nature, as no chemical fertilizers are used.
5 years from now, I would like to see all of Africa switching to organic farming methods and stop using chemical fertilizers that damage the soil and are harmful for humans and livestock. There are lots of issues at stake, and it would be good to see everybody aiming for a self-sufficient food supply by adopting organic methods.
L'autonomie alimentaire en passant par l'agriculture biologique.
Despite the climatic obstacles and the lack of resources, these pioneers of organic farming in the desert are not giving in.
As for the problem, well, we don't have enough water and the hot, dusty Harmattan winds blow every day. We need backing from outside partners to install more wells here, and we need to stem the exodus so we have enough hands to farm the 5 hectares. We are certain that with these 5 hectares, we'll be financially independent in a few years' time.
Although still in its infancy, African organic farming is starting to attract the attention of agricultural development aid institutions. The French Development Agency is showing particular interest.
There is an opportunity for certain African countries to sell tropical produce under the organic label. This is all the more true as countries that have been producing perennial crops such as coconuts have been farming organically without even being aware of it. I think there is a market, even though there are not yet any guidelines. The advantage with Europe is that we have the guidelines as well as the demand for organic produce.
Furthermore, Jean-Luc Francois also believes that participation by regional and local banks is indispensable for greater development of organic farming and of agriculture in general.
There can be no agricultural development without financial services for agriculture. There is a growing debate about the issue, and we think this is an encouraging sign. Major banks present on the continent are asking certain questions. Are we doing all we can for our farming clientele? There is an emulation between banks, and more thought is being given to asking how we can best serve agriculture, a sector which is naturally risky. That is why the AFD is thinking hard about the question of risk management.
Here in the desert, exporting is not an issue, or not yet. But in other regions on the continent where the climate is more clement, namely in East African nations such as Tanzania, Uganda and Ethiopia, not to mention South Africa, large-scale organic farms are increasingly common. Almost 180,000 hectares have already obtained the official organic label, namely for land dedicated to perennial crops like coffee, cotton, palm oil and cocoa. The sector now provides a livelihood for more than 500,000 small-holding farmers. Other producers are still waiting for the official label that is yet to comply with very strict European Union norms. This certification is indispensable for farmers intending to export their produce to Europe. Several organizations have set up support programs to promote the process. The Food and Agricultural Organization launched a $2.4 million program with German financial backing. It remains to be seen how much of the future organic farming will have in Africa. One thing the experts agree on is that the choice of this type of agriculture will boost the continent's food production capacity and reduce its dependency on foreign countries.
It's now time to reward our loyal viewers of Business Africa. It's up to you to answer to the following questions. If you are drawn among those who have given the correct answers, you will win $150. This is game number 559, so listen carefully to the 2 questions that follow and good luck. First question, what is Convexity in Nigeria? A startup, a school, and engineering company. Second question, what does Mahamadou grow in the desert? Coffee, tomatoes and eggplants, cotton. You know the answers. You can participate now by going to our website, africaonair.com, answer the questions, fill out your form, and good luck. And of course, don't forget to include your contact details, name, address, telephone, email, and the number of the game you are entering with the answers, of course. This game, for example, is game number 559. The winner will receive $150 as our winner every 2 weeks. Congratulations, you gave the correct answers to our game number 558. Here are the details. First question, what is IBS in Somalia? Answer, an Islamic bank. Second question, who initiated the process of empowering women in Western Cameroon? Answer, Dr. Adamu Ndam Ngoya. That's it. Business Africa is over for today. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel, for a new edition of Initiative Africa. We will speak to Marilyn Douala-Bell, the founder of the Cameroonian Contemporary Art Center Douala Art. She will talk to us in the second part of her interview about her mission to young people. In the meantime, you can watch this program again on our website, africaonair.com, as well as on all our social media channels. Feel free to share, like, and comment using the hashtag Business Africa TV show. Well, take care of yourselves and see you next week. Goodbye.